My wife and our therapist say I am an emotional abuser. Part 1. This all possibly stems from a traumatic event my wife experienced. 10 years ago, me, my brother, and my wife, then girlfriend, were in rural Thailand, and her back was hurt from being on a motorcycle for too long. We stayed in a hotel, and she believed my brother and I were going to abandon her there. She overheard us talking about how to get her to a hospital, and misunderstood. Since then, she doesn't like to be around my brother. When we got married, I promised her that she'd never have to see him again. Later, she amended that to be that our children will never see him either. I have a problem with that. I am very close to my brother. He is my identical twin. Often, when I bring up the issue, she gets very upset. For example, we were driving, and I mentioned the possibility of moving into the same neighborhood as him, so our children can grow up with their cousins. She got so upset that she started screaming, sped up the car to dangerous speeds, and started shaking the steering wheel, almost fishtailing. We were on a windy stretch of highway with a cliff on one side. I kept yelling at her to stop the car and pull over, but she wouldn't. The end result of all this is that for a long time, with some recent exceptions, we didn't see my brother's family, and I would avoid mentioning him, and when I talked on the phone to him, I would do it out of earshot of her. She has many other complaints about him, but they are mostly irrational. She says he's an emotional abuser. She also says I'm an emotional abuser. And her brother, sister, father, and aunt are also abusers. I haven't really met them, so I don't know. We saw a couples therapist, and the therapist agreed that I am an abuser. My wife would exaggerate things, make some things up, and say that I was lying. The therapist believed her. After several brutal sessions, I couldn't take it, and stopped going. I had a personal therapist that I saw a few times. He became our couples therapist. The same thing happened with him. He believed her story, didn't believe mine, and said that I was an abuser. He had me go to a batterer group for 3 hours a week, plus 2 hours driving. He had me read a book about abuse, with instructions to not consider my wife as an abuser when reading it. The book said that women can't be abusers. He instructed me to have specific thoughts, every time I thought badly of my wife. Almost every waking hour of my life was spent thinking about abuse. I couldn't concentrate on anything else. They had me convinced that I was an abuser. After all, 2 therapists in a row, and my wife, say so. I think part of what convinced me was it was a way to repair our marriage. If I'm an abuser, that's something I can fix.